Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the 8th edition of Random Ramblings with Randomonium. I, as always, am your host, Randomonium, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different for you guys. So, normally I cast games where I play with my team, but today I'm going to cast a game that I played recently in a solo entry tournament where I was playing with 4 complete strangers that I'd never played with before. And the goal of this video is to show how quickly you can actually create a team and coalesce them into a beautiful wave of destruction if everyone on the team is positive and communicates well. I'm also going to touch on some really useful stuff for lane swapping and farming under tower. So anyway, I've played quite a few tournaments, and even though Season 5 is only about halfway over, I've won $100 in RP in prizes, and I've got my Triumphant Rise skin. And a lot of people ask me, what's my secret? And no, it's not smurfing, despite what some of my teammates might try to say. The secret is being positive and respectful to your teammates and constantly engaging them in communication. So, a little background on me. I am an active duty officer in the military. Hoo-yah. As an officer, one of the most challenging aspects of my job is leading people on a daily basis and motivating them to do difficult or otherwise unpleasant things that they don't want to do. Yes, I can use my rank and my authority to try and kind of like bully people and get them to do what I want and threaten, disciplinary action if they don't do it. But that's really kind of a horrible idea, because while people will do what you ask, they're really not going to put that much effort into it. Their heart's not going to be into it, and they're just going to put in the bare minimum. And in the end, all they're going to do is think that I'm an ass, and I'm not really going to get anything from it. And the same is true for League. If you're the highest ranking person on your team, and you act like an ass and throw your weight around, you're just going to shut down all communication that you have on your team. Yeah, the players on the team are still going to try to win, but if they see like the enemy jungler or the enemy mid laner coming to gank your lane, they probably aren't going to say anything because they don't want to talk to you. And they probably just think, oh, if I can see that gank coming from a mile away, then that platinum player definitely can see it. And let's say you miss it and you get killed, you're probably going to make some comment like, GG noob jungler doesn't gank, or GG trash MIA doesn't, or trash mid doesn't call MIA, and things will just continue to spiral out of control. So my point is that it's far better to be positive and respectful. Yes, it requires a lot more work, but it's so worth it. And my job, I always try to say please and thank you, even if I'm talking to like the lowest ranked person who's just brand new. I always try to be respectful. I never yell at people. I never disrespect people. And I ask people about their days. I ask them how their family is. I check in on them, and the results are fantastic. I get great work out of my guys, and I lead by example, and other people follow that lead and treat others better because of it. So you can do the same thing in League. If you're the highest ranked player and you're calm and respectful to everyone, everyone else on your team is going to follow your lead and be calm and respectful to everyone else on the team. So the way that you can be a positive influence on your team and increase your chances of winning are to just be really nice. Ask people how they are, ask them what champs they like to play, have a discussion on what team comp you want to run, lighten the mood with some jokes, post a funny video in the chat if you're waiting for the bracket to get posted. Do anything you can do to keep your team engaged and keep them talking, because this is going to carry over into the game and result in superior communication for your team, which is going to increase your chance of winning dramatically. So that said, let's get into the game. So on our team, we have a Swain in top lane. I will be playing Sejuani in the jungle. Our mid is Diana, our ADC is Urgot, and Janna is our support. And we're going up against a Riven in top lane, and a Mumu in the jungle, an Ahri mid, an Ashe as ADC, and a Nautilus as support. So this team, their Riven is a diamond level player. He is the best player on their team, hands down. So if you're in this type of situation where the team is one diamond player and then a bunch of, lower ranked players, your goal should be to shut down that high level player at all costs. So what we are going to do to try and shut down that diamond level player is we're going to lane swap. We're going to lane swap into a 2v1, and we've got Swain, who can actually pretty effectively farm under tower in that 2v1 and come out ahead. So the most important thing in a lane swap is do not show the lane swap hide. It doesn't matter. Like, we know they're invading our jungle. We make sure that Swain hides. We make sure that Janna and Urgot hide, so they don't know that the lane swap is coming. So that's the most important thing. The other important thing is that once the lane swap gets executed, you want to pressure in the 2v1 lane to try and force that person to farm under tower and frustrate them because they're not going to get CS. And then your top laner needs to stay calm because he's going to be in a 2v1 and needs to realize that he's in a 2v1, he's not going to get a lot of farm. The important thing is that he just stay patient, farm under tower, and not fall further behind than the other top laner. So anyway, we're going to get into here. So you can see our Swain, he's playing pretty far forward. This is too far forward in a 2v1 scenario, especially since his trinket hasn't come off cooldown. If you get a ward in this bush, you can play this far forward, but without having a ward in this bush and knowing that there's supporters in this bush, you're just asking to get killed in this situation. So Nihilus is getting some harass on him. And you can see that he wants to get these CS. And also you can see that they back. They try to back here, and actually the Riven tries to back as well, because they don't want this lane swap. They want to get this Riven fed. She's going to be their key to victory, and she can't get fed in a 2v1 lane. It's really hard to, solo kill somebody 2v1. But they decide to continue on with it. So Swain comes up here to grab this CS, and this is a huge mistake, right? Because now he's going to get slowed, stunned, exhausted, and killed very easily. That's exactly what you want to not have happen in a 2v1 lane. You want to make sure that you stay calm, let the wave push, and then farm under tower. So he gives up first blood. But that's fine. He can recover from that. Alright, so let's go to the top lane and see how our 2v1 is going. So you can see that Riven, she's only got 3 CS compared to Urgot's 8. So already we're, really far ahead on her. But she's trying to do her best. And you can see right here, she engages. This is not a smart engage. Why would you try to engage in a 2v1 when their mana bars are full, right? This is more of a frustration thing than anything. And she has to flash, and look at this. 28 health. So burns her flash, barely gets out. So if you're in a 2v1, don't play aggressive. There's no need to play aggressive. Just stay passive and farm. So this is exactly where you want to put the ward if you're in a 2v1. You want to watch for these ganking opportunities from this bush. So that's a very good ward by Swain. Alright, I'm going to back up because I did gank mid, and I'd like to discuss that a little bit. So, I'm going to come around here, come up and I see that Ari's kind of pushing up, her wave's pushing, so I'm going to skip the camp and I'm going to go straight for a gank. Alright, so we engage here. This is pretty good, right? We get quite a decent amount of damage on it, but you can see that, like, even though Ari didn't really do that much damage to Diana, they're pretty much the same health at the end of the trade. And the reason for that is, if I back up again, is that this wave is pushing. So all of her minions are gone. So as soon as we engage on Ari, all these minions start attacking her. And the minions at low levels deal a lot of damage to your champion. So even though we're 2v1ing Ari, because all these minions are attacking Diana, it winds up being an even trade. So that's something that I can do better with and I can keep track of, is only try to engage in these ganks when there's not a lot of minions around. Alright, so back to bot lane. So you can see this. They're being really aggressive in this bot lane. And this is how you don't want to deal with a 2v1. You're already going to deny him a lot of CS. The only way that he can get back into the game is if you do stupid stuff like take unnecessary tower shots. Because then he might get a chance of getting a kill on you. You can see Swain lands his Nevermore and the turret shot, and now Nautilus is in a horrible amount of trouble. And Swain's actually able to capitalize on that and get a kill in a lane that he should never get a kill. You should never get a kill in a 2v1 lane like that, unless you're already like horribly fed. So because of that huge mistake coming into tower range, Swain is now completely back into this game. Alright, so moving up to top lane, Amumu ganks, but we see it coming and we back off. So Amumu just ganked top lane. So what are his options? He's either going to go to red side jungle, or he's going to gank mid. So regardless, Diana should be warding this bush right here, because she knows that he's on red side. So if he comes to gank, she's got the ward up, and if he doesn't come to gank, then oh well, you'll just have to wait 120 seconds, and then you get the ward back. But I'm gonna back up a little bit for bot lane because we had a pretty good play in bot lane as well. So as soon as Nautilus dies, I make an immediate beeline towards bot lane because Ashe is low, and I want to get us in this 2v1 situation. So you can see Ashe comes in here, but we've got this ward here, this really well placed ward, which is exactly what you need to do, and she recalls. So I come in, I do the flash engage, and I definitely should have angled it more back. I should have anticipated that she was going to walk backwards and I miss it. But Swain does a very good job landing his Nevermore, and it allows us to get the kill. So that's exactly what you want to do if you're the jungler and to punish that 2v1 lane. So I'm going to go up to the top lane here. Alright, so Riven, resourceless champ. So she can just spam her abilities all day. She's only cooldown dependent. Urgot and Janna, not so much. So as a support, you don't want to just spam your abilities. You want to make sure that you always have enough mana just in case somebody tries to all-in you. But Janna's kind of not managing her mana very well, and that allows Riven to pretty much all-in them because Riven sees that they don't have any mana. So Riven's got actually an advantage in this 2v1 situation. And she actually gets a kill because of that. So the reason why she's able to get this kill is because of poor mana management by primarily the support, because Urgot's going to need to spend his mana to use his abilities, but I mean Urgot can also do a better job at managing his mana. But I would expect that the support should keep her mana up so that she can get that disengage for her ADC. So let's go back to the mid lane. And remember when I was saying that if you see the jungler go top, he's got two options, right? He's either going to go back into red side jungle or he's going to gank you mid. Well, that's exactly what Amumu does. He goes, gets red buff, and then he ganks mid. And if Diana had a little bit better map awareness and put a ward up here, she would have seen this gank coming. But instead, she's kind of playing far up, and yep, Amumu comes out, and oh crap. And it's pretty much an easy kill for them. So, try to anticipate what the enemy jungler is going to do, right? If they gank top and it fails, they're probably going to gank mid. So, ward, protect yourself with those wards. This is good by Swain. Clears out the wave. You know, got 18 CS now, which is actually more than their Ashe. And then backs out. Alright. Let's look at what Swain bought. So Swain has a kill and assist. And instead of buying these power items, you know, to try and just scale up, look at this. He already's got his Crystalline Flask, which is a great buy. And then he picks up a pink ward and 2 green wards. And that's perfect. That's exactly what you should be picking up if you're in a 2v1 lane. You need vision. Vision is what's going to keep you alive in a 2v1 lane, more than anything. So you can see, comes up here, pinks it, clears out the ward, so now I can gank. Then comes up here and uses his trinket ward. So now he's got vision of that as well. And then he's going to come down here and he's going to put a green in this bush. So he's got every single possible path covered for ganks. So, and then I also like the fact that he uses his trinket ward for here, and he uses his green ward for the lane bush, because at this stage in the game, for people who don't know, trinket wards last for 60 seconds before level 9, and they last for 2 minutes after level 9. But green wards always last for 3 minutes. And then, additionally, if you upgrade your trinket, not only do you get an extra charge for your wards, but your wards will last 3 minutes. So that's kind of like, that's why you really want to upgrade your trinket as early as possible. So upgrade your trinket to level 9, because not only do you get that extra charge, but your wards last a minute longer. So anyway, they're going to continue to push, and you can see this wave is stacked up. So this wave is just going to push into Swain's tower, and he's going to have to farm under tower. So let's stop real quick and talk about laning when you're under tower. So the only way that you can do this effectively is you have to anticipate how much damage the tower is going to do to each minion, and you need to anticipate which minion the tower is going to target. So a turret shot takes about 44% of a melee minion's health with one shot, and it takes about 68% of a caster minion's health with one shot. Champion damage for auto attacks varies really widely depending on what champion you're using, you know, what your masteries are, what your runes are, what your items are, but it's usually like 10 to 20%. So I understand math is boring, so what's the important part of all this? What's important is that if you have a full health melee minion, in general it's going to take 2 tower shots and 1 auto attack to kill that minion. So you let the tower take 2 shots and then you auto attack once and you get the CS. So that makes melee minions very easy to CS if they're at full health. If they're not at full health, it becomes a lot more difficult because 2 tower shots will usually kill them. So you have to basically use your abilities, use your spells to kill them before the second tower shot goes off. For caster minions, it takes 2 auto attacks and 1 tower shot to kill them. If they take 2 tower shots, they'll die. And if they're less than about 2/3 health, they'll die to 1 tower shot. So in order to kill or get the CS for a caster minion, you have to set up your auto attacks so that as soon as you see which minion the tower targets, you have to auto attack first. Then the tower takes a shot, and then you auto attack again to get the CS. If the tower gets the shot off first, you're not going to get your second auto attack off for the tower, because a tower has about a base attack speed of 0.83, and champions usually have a base attack speed of between 0.6 or 0.7. The only way you're going to get that second auto attack off is if you have some attack speed items. So alright, let's take a look at this. So worst case scenario with caster minions is you're going to have 3 full health caster minions coming in on your tower, and you have no mana. So all you have are auto attacks. So the question is, how do you maximize your CS in that type of scenario? So most people will try to attack the caster minion that the turret selects. But that's wrong, because you're never going to... If you let the tower take a shot and then you take a shot, then the tower's going to kill the minion on the next shot, and then he's going to... The same thing is going to keep happening, and you're not going to get any CS from that. So if you have 3 caster minions that are all full health, and the tower targets the first minion, you want to attack the second minion with an auto attack. And then the tower is going to shoot once at minion number 1, and then your second auto attack you're going to shoot at minion number 3, and then the tower's going to take a shot and he's going to kill the first minion. Now you have it set up so that both the second and the third minion can take 1 tower shot and 1 auto attack and they'll die. So then you just wait for the tower to select its next target, and then you just auto that minion after the tower shot, and you'll get both those CS. So you won't get all 3 CS, but you'll at least get 2 every single time. So let's watch how Swain deals with this minion wave. So you can see, attacks the melee minion, and then it kills it with the next shot. And things become even more complicated with all this when you have your minions attacking them as well. So this entire time, Swain so far has not gotten a single CS because he's not properly anticipating which minion he needs to attack and which minion the tower is going to target. So you can see, full health caster minion dies with 2 tower shots pretty easily. Again, full health caster minion dies with 2 tower shots. And even though he tries to auto attack it, he doesn't kill it with 1 auto attack. He needs 2 to kill it. But then here, that minion was about 2/3 health and it died to that 1 shot. So, very difficult to do. So this entire time he hasn't got a single CS because he's not properly anticipating which minion he needs to attack first. Alright, so now we get into the situation where I was just talking about, where you've got 3 full health caster minions. And yeah, they're going to take a little bit of damage from these, from your own caster minions, but this is pretty much the exact same scenario. So what he wants to do is he wants to wait until these minions come into turret range and he can get 2 out of the 3 CS, which is fine. But what you're going to see is that after the minions get killed, he uses Nevermore. And that drops all 3 of these minions to between 50 to 65% health. So now every single one of them will die to 1 tower shot. So he's not going to get any of this CS, because if he tries to attack a minion, he can't kill it with 1 auto attack, and the tower is going to fire faster than he does. So, key to farming successfully on your tower is to anticipate how much damage the tower is going to do, and anticipate who the tower is going to attack. Alright. So, continuing on, Swain continuing to try and do the best he can. Ash hits level 6 right now. So, Ash engage at level 6 is very strong. So it's highly likely that they're going to try and dive him at this point. So you can see that I'm starting to move down a Sejuani to try and anticipate this gank. So you can see Nautilus engages, but I'm pretty close. So I'm going to turn this into a 2v2. Ash fires her arrow, and you can see how powerful that engages. It nearly pops him right there, just between the Nautilus engage and the Ash arrow. But I'm able to get in, and now Swain gets his Nevermore off and locks her down. So my goal here is I don't want Nautilus to be able to use any of his CC on to Swain. If Nautilus gets any CC off, then Swain is dead. So I'm just going to position myself between Nautilus and Swain. So Swain does a very good job by just moving ever so slightly down. So now I can actually turn and auto attack Ash, but I'm still between Nautilus and Swain. So there's no way that Nautilus can engage on Swain. So we were able to survive that, even though Swain almost got bursted out right away. We see that the moon was rotating down, so we know that they're going to try and do a 3v1 dive now. So my goal is to just get between, just basically protect Swain, right? Because the Moon's got his bandage toss, Nautilus has got his dredge line. I need to make sure that neither of them hit Swain. It's okay if they hit me, but I can't let them hit Swain. So I'm just backing up and forth, protecting Swain. They engage on me, which is fine, but now they're in turret range. So Swain lands his Nevermore and is able to get a really easy kill onto a Mumu because of that. So always try to protect your low health allies when you're underneath the tower, and then just punish them with turret shots. So your turret is going to do way more damage than you ever could in these type of situations. And you can see that I escape with about 50 health, and Swain, he's able to heal it pretty well because he's got his ultimate. Alright, I'm going to back up real quick. This is a pretty good trade between Diana and Ahri. So Diana's actually behind in CS, which is what I would expect in this matchup, just because Ahri is a ranged champion, and Ahri is a pretty good counter to Diana. But Diana goes in, and Ahri times her chime very well, so that Diana can't get her full burst off right away. That Moonfall was too soon. That's a minor mistake on Diana's part. With the Moonfall, you want them to walk to the very edge of the Moonfall and then draw them back in, because that's going to maximize your ability to deal damage to them. So you're dealing damage to them that kind of walk away from you, and then you just draw them back in again, and all that time that they spent is wasted. But Ahri ignites, so Diana ignites back. Okay, so now you're in a really precarious situation, because you've got your ignite going on Ahri, and an ignite's going on you, and you're both incredibly low health. But you're not sure if that ignite's going to kill her. But you know that if you stay around, these minions are going to kill you. What do? Do you try and get the kill and die yourself? Or do you back out? If you think that you're going to for sure die, go for the kill. But that's not the case here. If she backs out right now, she can live. So the correct answer here is to back out, always. If you can live, back out. Because worst case scenario, nobody gets an advantage. But best case scenario is that you still kill Ahri. If you stay, the best case scenario is that you trade 1 for 1. And the worst case scenario is that she survives and you die. So always back out when you can. It's better to not get the kill than give up the death. So So she backs out, and she still gets the kill. So she gets the best of both worlds in that situation. Because she's patient and because she's conservative and she backs out. So, very good play by Diana. Alright, gonna back out again, right here. So, I've backed out, but Nautilus and Ash are gonna still be aggressive with Swain. Swain is really low health, so they think that they can kill him, right? They've got this wave pushing in, so they engage on him, but all of these minions right here are useless to them now. They actually help Swain because he can just vamp off of all of these minions here. You can see he vamps and they can't kill him. And actually Ash has to flash to escape. And to make matters even worse, Swain, when he did his Nevermore, he just barely misses it. If he had actually landed that Nevermore, then Nautilus would have died and Swain would have got the kill. So you have to know what champ you're going up against. It's very hard to kill Swain when he's got minions to vamp off of, and you're going to take a lot of tower damage trying to kill him to do that. So now they completely give up lane pressure, right? Rather than playing it safe and forcing him to just recall, now they can both recall, and it's a net 0 advantage for them. I'll back up real quick for this trade up top lane. Alright, so Riven does a flash engage. Urgot blows his ult. But you can see that there's no way that Riven is going to get this kill. I mean, she comes close and she does a really great job for, you know, the 2v1, but it's just so risky. She could have easily died there. So Muma's gonna come up to possibly gank. So we see this, and Muma's just chilling here this whole time. And our lane does a very good job just backing off, and Diana and I are just gonna rotate up because they completely telegraphed this gank. And actually this is pretty cool that we actually have a ward here, so we see them here. And we go in, Riven's about to escape, but Swain teleports in, and now it's a 5v2 top, and allows us to get 2 really easy kills, right? So now this top tower is ours. So we get 2 kills off of this, and we're gonna get a tower. And you notice how all 5 of us are not going to stay here to take this tower. That's just overcommitting to an objective, and they could push mid tower and bot tower and possibly trade a tower with us. So we tell Swain to go back down bot, and we're going to have Diana rotate back to mid to cover mid. Because we only need 3 people to take this tower. And now Ahri rotates up. This is kind of a very poor play by her, right? Because this tower is going down no matter what. There's no way that she can stop it. And now Diana is able to get back to the lane before the wave even pushes to tower. So she doesn't lose any CS from this. If Ahri had stayed and pushed this wave into the tower, all those minions would have died on the tower. And it would have set Diana back. Yeah, she got the 2 kills, but she would have lost a lot of CS. Now she got 2 kills and she got a ton of CS, so she's really far ahead now. So Swain's going in, he's going to be aggressive because he's in a 1v1 with Ahri. And he's already pretty far ahead, so he's actually trading really well with Ahri. And then he can just vamp up onto these minions again. But Nautilus rotates down, he uses his ult. Swain does a really good job avoiding that dredge line, and they're diving him again. You know, yeah, he's low health, but he's Swain. You're gonna take a lot of tower shots to try and kill him. And he lands the Nevermore, which locks down Ash, and he can just focus her out. So I'm going to keep track of his health. Right now he's at 41 health. If he gets the kill, 20 health, 60 health, gets the double kill. So you have to know the champion you're going up against. It's going to be really hard to kill Swain. And you're going to take so much damage under tower. Don't dive the Swain. He will punish you. So now Swain is really far ahead. 4-1 and 2. And we're only 12 minutes into the game. So Riven goes to mid because they're trying to get out of this lane swap, right? They don't want Riven to be top lane with an Urgot and a Janna when he doesn't have a tower behind him. He wants to be in a 1v1 lane. So if we say, okay, if you want to put Riven in mid lane, we'll just put our AD carry and our support in mid lane as well and continue to punish you in a 2v1 scenario. Because our number one goal is to shut down Riven. Because Riven is a diamond ranked player. So yeah, you can see she's trying to recall because we've got a 2v1. She knows that we're just going to keep punishing her in this 2v1 scenario so that she can't carry. So I move up to gank, but they've got this warded, so Ari backs off pretty well. And I can't really get anything on her. So we're in kind of a little reset period, and they decide to bring Nautilus into mid to help Riven. Because Riven right now is really far behind, right? She's not carrying well as much as they would like her, right? She's the center of their team. So Nautilus is setting up for Dragon. He's getting these deep wards down. And that's their goals. We're going to try and set up for Dragon. But Nautilus comes down, he's getting this ward here. On first replay I thought that actually he was trying to rotate onto Swain, but I don't think he realizes Swain is here. I think he's just trying to set up a ward for Dragon. But he gets kind of caught out, right? So yeah, they want to do Dragon here, but Nautilus is just so far to position that as soon as we realize that he's here, we just kind of collapse on him. Yeah, so we see Nautilus and we just collapse on him right away. And there's nothing they can really do to stop us. And as soon as we get the kill on Nautilus, it's now a 4v5, and there's no way that they can fight this dragon, so they have to back off of it. So, very good job catching on Nautilus. Definitely a misplay on his part. And we definitely want to go for Dragon, but they're pushing mid. We need to clear out mid, and bot lane is pushing as well, so we can clear out bot. So we kind of just delay that Dragon a little bit. So Swain's just going to continue to push this lane. Try to deal as much damage, because no one can really compete with Swain right now. He's just the most fed in the game right now. Continuing to push, get that tower damage, and you can see that it's forcing two of them to rotate down to stop him. Because no one person can stop Swain at this point in the game. But as soon as the minion wave starts to die off, it looks like Swain backs off. They lose vision on him, and Amumu starts to recall. Swain kind of sets a trap here, lands the Nevermore, and is able to pretty much instantaneously burst out in Ash. So that was a very good job by Swain. Just setting that trap. Now he can just continue to push the lane, and there's nothing they can really do. But he decides to back off. Actually, if Swain had continued to push that, he probably could have gotten the tower then and there. But he decides to back off, which is fine. So we're kind of in a reset period here right now. They're pushing, we're pushing back. Now Riffin's rotating to bot lane to try and clear out some bot lane and get some more pressure here, but Swain teleports. And also the other cool thing of having your top laner in bot lane is that even if he teleports to bot lane, he can still rotate to a dragon if he needs to. So now Swain's doing a little bit better job of anticipating where the turret's going to attack. You can see that he's getting a lot more CS now. So they're going for dragon right now, and we really can't contest, unfortunately. I already backed, Diana's backing, so they get the first dragon, but that's not really a big deal. The big deal would have been is if one of our guys got caught out, because then they could have rotated for a tower. But we just give him the first dragon, and that's fine. So again, we're kind of in a lull. They took the objective, and now it's just a question of who can push, who can rotate better. So Swain's going to continue to push, and you can see the response from that, right? As soon as he starts to push, they rotate 3 down to bot lane. And they're going to keep trying to put pressure on him. But I rotate down. And nobody really wants to engage on this, right? Because I know that Mumu is around here somewhere. I don't really want to engage into a 2v3, even though Swain is pretty fed. But so right now, we see that Riven's top. So our immediate decision is we're going to try and burst down mid, right? Because we also have the inside track on mid tower. We have a lot less distance to travel than they do to take this tower. They're going to have to do this, you know, snake route around the jungle to get back to their tower, and we can just push right in and take it. So they're kind of a little bit out of position, which is going to allow us to take mid tower really quickly. So clear out the wave really fast and just fast push the tower. And it's a 5v4, so they really don't want any part in trying to contest this. They just have to give it up. And you can see that Riven's gonna recall, but then she decides against it and continues to push, right? So Riven is, like I've said many times, the best player on their team. We are never going to send only one person to deal with Riven. We're always going to send 2. So we can do this because the other 3 players on our team are going to back off and play passive and not let themselves get engaged on. So Riven's playing really far up. She doesn't have any ward coverage whatsoever, and she's actually behind the tower trying to kill the wave. This is just really gutsy, and we're going to wind up punishing that. Yeah, tries to continue clearing, and we're able to get an easy kill. So they see that we have 2 top, so naturally they're going to try and push mid. But we've got pretty dang good wave clear with Swain and Urgot. That there's not much they can do to really counter that. So they're going to continue to try and push this tower down. I mean, you see a lot of times in these type of tournaments, and even in solo queue games, everybody's like, go group mid, try to take the mid tower. But, you know, we've got Diana pushing, we've got Swain pushing, and they've got to respond to that. You know, RAs keep peeling off to go up and clear these waves. And it's very effective. So anytime a team wants to try and like just push mid with 5 people, just rotate one of your strongest players, preferably somebody with teleport, and just split push and punish them, because then they either have to decide whether they want to try and dive you guys into tower and give up a tower of their own, or whether they want to back off. So yeah, you can see Swain pushes again, and they immediately have to back off because they don't want to lose this tower. So you see Riven is pushing top again. So what are we going to do? We're going to send 2 people top to kill her. So we send up Diana and myself. And you can see that the rest of our team plays back. Plays very cautiously. So Riven flashes, I almost land my knockup, but she has to back off completely. Can't get any pressure on this tower. That's fine. That's a fine trade. I don't mind blowing her flash in that type of a gank. But as soon as Riven backs, that leaves Diana to push the tower, and then we can continue to push mid. So we're just slowly pushing in on them. So the next step in this type of a situation is you want to start getting these deep wards. Like, these wards are good. You want to get like a ward here. You want to get a ward in this bush, because that is a lot of the paths that somebody can take. So anytime we push up, we could have done better with trying to get those deep wards into their jungle. So you can see now that we've ganked Riven twice, she's actually like scared to keep pushing. So as soon as she pushes to river, she backs off. And now we can just use Diana to clear, and we can still commit 4 people to mid. So just mind games to get in the head of your opponent. And now you can see Riven's kind of hesitant to go in, because every single time we've gone up against her before, we've always had 2 people. So she's kind of expecting 2 people to be here. So we kind of make the mistake of being too focused in mid lane, and minions just take our bot lane tower. You can see that Swain is starting to rotate, but then they start trying to push the wave a little bit more, and he rotates back up. Because Janna's trying to back, and Urgot can't hold it by himself. So this wave is continuing to push, and we're trying to deal with Riven. So this is kind of a poor job on our part, right? We lose bot tower because we're not managing the wave very well. Riven's able to push top tower down, not managing our backs very well, and not managing our waves very well. We're too focused on mid tower. So you see we want to continue pushing, right? We want to do this 4-1 split push. But this wave is really starting to stack up here. So now it's almost like an emergency, right? Because this wave can just crash in, and it's going to deal a ton of damage to our tier 2 tower. So we have to back off mid. We lose all of our pressure mid because Swain has to rotate to bottom side to deal with this wave. And also, Diana has to back off because now that we don't have eyes on them, we can't continue the split push top lane without vision. So we start getting some wards up at least around dragon, because we don't want to try and give up another dragon if we don't need to. And they're pretty much doing the same. Don't know why Urgot tried to proc that, but whatever. Just a little bit of harass. But Diana's continuing to split push, which is good. It does, so Diana being up here kind of hurts our objective taking capability, right? Because she doesn't have teleport. Riven can be up here, and because she's got teleport, she can always go into the fight. But we're not really trying to take an objective right now, so it's fine for her to split push as long as she backs out when we need her to. And the reason why she can split push so far up is because of this ward coverage. You know, ward coverage is pretty much ideal. There's no way that they can gank her very effectively. So we push up here. They don't have eyes on Diana. They don't know where she is. So we're being super aggressive, and they have to back off. And that little movement alone is going to allow us to rotate back to Dragon, right? So you push in, you be aggressive, you get the other enemy team to react, and now they're just way out of position to try and contest this Dragon. So we can rotate back to Dragon, and now we have positional advantage, and we have vision advantage. So if they try to walk in to fight us on this, we're going to win. Because we've got vision advantage, we've got positional advantage, they have to go through these choke points, and also we've got the gold advantage. So they make the right decision to not try to contest this Dragon, and instead try to push the wave. But we leave Diana here to wave clear, so they can't really trade us. Because usually if you going to give up a Dragon, you want to try and trade with a different objective, like a tower or something. Or at least, you know, like a jungle camp or something. But we're continuing to push up. We're going to try and get more vision, try to punish them as much as possible. For the most part, it's really just a battle of waves. The moon was down here pushing this wave a little bit, so we got to be kind of cautious of that. So we're not too worried about Amumu pushing, because he's got a pretty slow push. But Urgot's just going to respond and clear that out pretty easily. So, alright. Diana's clearing here, and she doesn't react to Nautilus because she doesn't see Riven. But then Riven's hiding here and she comes in and they get a really good gank on. But Swain tries to TP, but Ahri charms him, so she cancels out his TP. And they re-engage, but I'm able to peel for Diana, which allows us to get the kill on Riven. And meanwhile, Urgot's doing great things in bot lane. So, tank Amumu versus carry Urgot, not usually a favorable trade, especially when you get knocked into turret range. So Amumu does his best to try and take him down, but that's really just not a smart idea to try and engage a carry. Especially a carry who's, you know, got some kills under his belt in a 1v1. You're going to lose that most of the time. So we're trying to get some damage on top tower. And our ward coverage is alright. It's not fantastic. But we can do this pretty safely, because we know that Riven and Amumu are dead. But as soon as they come up, as soon as their death timers are done, we're going to back off, right? Because the last thing we want to do is get caught out and get out-rotated. Because we've got Urgot bot lane, so they could basically rush us and get us in a 5v4, and we're already pretty low health to begin with. So, yeah, this tower is almost dead, right? 41 hit points, but you don't want to overstay. That's like the worst thing you can do is die trying to take a tower, because then they'll just push the waves and take one of your towers. So, that tower will still be there in a little bit. We're going to get this tower, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter if we get the tower now or if we get the tower 5 minutes from now. So, Swain pushes this up, and this is really good. And then he sees that Amumu is continuing to push this bot lane. So Urgot and Swain are going to come down and basically crush Amumu. So yeah, Amumu tries to get out, tries to banish toss, tries to flash, uses his ult. but there's no escaping from that. You've got 2 fed carries. So they try to rotate, but there's no way that they're going to stop that kill from happening. Alright, I'm going to back that up because... So, Amumu dies, right? So we're at this point in the game where we're all kind of between 11 and 15. So Dragon, or correction, Baron's going to be a definite possibility. So I throw out my Bola to try and catch Ahri. Because if I catch her and we kill her, it's a 5v3 and we can take Baron pretty much immediately. So all we need is one more catch to put us in a 5v3, and then we can pretty easily take Dragon. But Diana kind of overextends, but thankfully we're close enough that we're able to just push them out, right? We got Jan disengaged, we've got Mai disengaged, so we're able to keep Diana alive. So we're continuing to push mid. Their entire team is up, and their entire team is full health. So we're pushing up here, but we really shouldn't be looking for an engage because Diana's at about half health. I am not at full health. I don't have my ult, which is our primary form of engagement. So when this fight breaks out, we should be backing off, and that's what most of us do. But Swain kind of stays, and it's kind of poor communication on our part. And we're actually really lucky that only one of us die in this scenario. Right? Janna does a great ult to keep me alive. Diana has to blow Zhonya's. And if they push really hard right now, they probably could have gotten a couple more kills on us, but they just kind of back off because they're kind of low as well. So yeah. You don't want to team fight unless you have to team fight or you've got a clear advantage. And if your primary initiator, the Sejuani, doesn't have her ult, you just want to just avoid that ult comes off cooldown, because it's just such an impactful thing. Same with like a Mumu's Bandage Toss. Don't fight unless you've got a Mumu's Bandage Toss, because his ult is just too good. Alright, so Ashe is kind of playing aggressive. She feels safe because Ribbon's there. Nope, you're not safe. Gets popped pretty much immediately. So now we're in a 5v4 scenario, and because Ahri shows top, that's like an immediate dragon, right? It's because we're already in a 5v4 for their best case scenario, but since Ahri's top lane, it's a 5v3. So absolutely take that dragon all day long in that type of a situation. And you can see that they're pushing mid, so we don't need 5 people to take dragon, so Diana rotates up, and she's able to actually save this tower. So, good job not overcommitting to objectives. If you don't need 5 people to take an objective, don't waste 5 people on that objective. Only use the least amount of people you need, and then devote the rest of your team to protecting your other objectives. So now we're kind of into another little bit of a lull in the game. So I'm going to speed up a little bit, just ×2. Diana's going to continue to split push, which is very good on her, right? And they're going to continue to push mid lane. But we're able to defend this tower, even though it's got very little health. So continuing to try and push, continuing trying to battle with the wave clear. We're trying to get more wards up in this side of the jungle so that we can rotate between mid and top. But we're not quite there yet. So they push in 5 strong on to mid. Top's pushing really hard, and Diana decides to recall. So we're guaranteed to get at least 1 tower, and we're strong enough, right? We've got, it's 16-4, we've got a pretty nice gold lead on them, and most of that gold is on Swain, who's right here. So if they try to engage on us in this tier 2 tower, Diana's not going to get back in time to help us. She's far better off continuing to push and going for an inhibitor turret. Because who cares if they go for this tier 2, I will happily trade this tier 2 tower for an inhibitor turret. So it's kind of a little bit of a misplay. I don't think that we gave clear had a clear team objective mindset on this, but we should have had her continue to split push because we can hold off this 5v4 pretty easily. So, alright, you see the dredge line come, or the Nahlis ult comes in, and then Ashe's ult comes in right after it, but they only hit Urgot. So both their major forms of CC, they blow right off the bat. And Janna immediately pops her ult to prevent them from engaging, which is exactly what you want to do. Right? So they just blew all of their engage potential, and they got very little to show for it. But you can see that they're going to continue to engage, and Swain comes around. And Swain gets them in this fantastic 3-man Nevermore, right? And this is a wet dream for Sejuani, seeing a team clumped up like this. So you can see that I charge in, and I throw out my ult, and I land a 4-man ult. So right after Swain's Nevermore, we land a 4-man Sejuani ult. And this fight is done, just based off of those two abilities alone. And all we need now is we just have Urgot to just clean up on them. So Urgot gets 1 kill on Ahri, then he's going to get a 2nd kill here on Nautilus. And we continue to peel for Swain, get the kill on Riven, and then now Mumu is in a very bad spot. He flashes, but he's pretty much getting slowed over and over again. And there's going to be no escape for him. He tries to throw a bandage toss hoping that blue's there, but it's not. So he doesn't get saved. So that winds up being a 4 for 0. Right? So 4 for 0. We kill 4 of their teammates. It's not an ace, but it's great. We're all about level 13 to 16. So if you remember what I was saying earlier, if you pick at least 2 of them, you can go for Baron pretty much immediately. And that's the call. Go for Baron immediately. Because there's no way that this lone Ashe can contest it. But she actually, they see us coming up here through this ward, so she rotates down to try and, I don't know, stop it somehow. I don't know what she's trying to gain from this, but we spot her with the ward, and then Diana just hops the wall and kills her. So we get kind of an unofficial ace, and we get the Baron. And now we're in a commanding lead of this game, just because of that one team fight. So now that we have Baron, you want to exploit your Baron as much as possible, right? Baron is how you push down towers and break into their base. It's kind of your reward for, you know, playing well the whole game. It allows you to end the game a lot quicker. So we're going to push up mid lane, and we're going to get wards in their blue side jungle. And the reason why we're doing this is they still have their mid tier 2 and their bot tier 2. So if we get wards up in their blue side jungle, we can rotate between mid lane and bot lane, and if they try to follow us, we can collapse on them and gank them. And if they try to back out and go around this way, that's a longer distance than our route, so we can rotate faster, and we're able to take towers easier that way. So you can see that we take mid tower really easily, and then as soon as this wave gets pushed up by Diana, we're going to rotate to bot lane, and they're not going to be able to respond as quickly as we are. So you see we start rotating to bot lane, and they don't realize it right away, and it becomes pretty much a free tower, a second free tower for us. And now they're behind. So they rotate and the tower is already gone. Even if they had rotated on time, we still would have been able to get that tower. So okay, they're all bot lane now, so we're going to rotate back to mid lane. We're going to push that up and see how quickly they can rotate to mid. But we do get spotted out by a ward, so they do rotate to mid lane a lot better than they did to bot. And it's like, alright, well, if you're in mid lane, well, let's just rotate to top lane. So you can see that we started trying to get ward coverage up on their red side jungle so we can rotate between mid and top lane a lot better too. So we continue to send Diana up to split push, and then 4 of us are just going to stay around mid and try and basically just push that until Diana pushes the wave in, and then we'll rotate to top lane. So we're waiting for Diana to continue to push, and we're continuing to just apply some gentle pressure in mid lane to just kind of distract them mid lane. But they realize that Diana is pushed out pretty far, so you can see that Riven and Amumu are coming around to kind of set up like a flank on our team. And they've got Ahri and Nautilus, and Ashe is kind of doing her own thing right now, but she's going to come down and help. But their goal is to try and get us in a 5v4, right? They see that Urgot and Janna are way over here, and they're betting that they can jump in on us and possibly get a kill before Urgot and Janna can respond. But we see it coming with this ward, and right now Riven and Amumu are so far out of position. Look how close they are to our team, and compare that to where Nautilus and Ahri and Ashe are. They're in no position to help them. So I immediately dive into them because I know that there's no chance that they're going to escape this. And Diana does a great roam down, and we're able to get an easy kill onto Riven. And their team makes the mistake of trying to engage on this. Ashe backed, I have no idea why. And if your team gets caught out, it's better to let them die than to engage in an unfair fight and you all end up dying. So you can see that, you know, Ahri gets chunked out a ton, Amumu gets chunked out a ton, and Amumu actually winds up dying. Yep. So Amumu, well, I have no idea why Amumu has Zonias, but that's besides the point. Amumu gets killed. And then looking back to mid lane, Nautilus is still caught out and he gets killed as well. So because of that one mistake, that coming in to try and get that flank, we get 3 kills off of it. And now we just go back to our same game plan, right? We're going to push mid and push top with Diana. So this is actually a really funny trait. So let's look at this. Diana's got no mana and about half health, and Ashe is full health, full mana. Who do you think is going to win this? So Ashe is chasing. Diana engages. Ashe uses her arrow, gets Diana down to 129 health. Diana uses Zonias, but we don't realize how much trouble Diana's in. We're still pushing tower. We just took mid tower, so we're kind of focused on that inhib, and we're not helping her. But Ashe kind of backs off, and that gives Diana enough space to just turn tail and run when she comes out of Zonias. So we get the inhib, and we rotate up to top tower to try and take top, and the whole time Ashe is chasing Diana. Which basically leaves just Ahri and Riven to try and defend this tower, which is not a very good situation for them. So because Ashe is chasing for this kill, we're going to keep pushing this tower. Like, who cares if Ashe kills Diana here, because we're going to get an inhib off of this, because Ashe is so far out. But Ashe keeps chasing. He keeps chasing. Keeps chasing. Diana hides, and we don't really need Janna to help us take down this tower, so we're going to send Janna to help Diana. So Ashe fires her arrow. Look at this. 97 health. Ashe flashes. 13 health. And the heal from Janna keeps Diana alive. So now Ashe is going to try and back. We just took the tower, now we're moving on to the inhibitor. Ashe is kiting as best she can. And what would be perfect right now is if Janna got this kill. That would just be the highlight of my day. But Diana's not going to let that happen. She ends up getting the kill. So let's go back to the main engage here. Okay, so we take down tower, and I kind of back off. They don't have vision on me. So they know that Janna and Diana are way back here. So it looks like it's a 4v2 for the red team. So they're going to try it, even though Urgot and Swain have got a lot of kills, they're going to try and engage on this. This is the best opportunity they have at trying to get some picks. But I'm going to rotate back, and it's going to turn into a 4v3. So Riven's going to engage, able to kite her really well, and just burst her out pretty much immediately. And then I land my ult, only get it on one person this time, but we get a second kill pretty easily as well. So that's another inhib that we're going to get pretty easily. And that's pretty much going to be the game. We're going to be able to win the game off of this. So they go for the kill, but we're able to get the ace because of this. So this is a question of just pushing down the towers now. So I'm going to pause. So how do we win this game so easily? So the first thing we did was we identified what the biggest threat on their team is, and we did everything in our power to shut down that player. So Riven was their only diamond player, so our goal was just to shut her down and basically put our team in a better situation, because your best players are going to carry the game 9 times out of 10. So the way we did this was we lane swapped to put Riven in a 2v1 lane, and then when they tried to lane swap Riven out of that lane, we lane swapped again to keep Riven in a 2v1. And then later on, when Riven was trying to split push, we never sent only one person to stop her. We always sent 2 people to stop her, which allowed us to shut her down and get some extra kills on her as well, and also made her very afraid of split pushing. So we pretty much just took Riven out of that fight, and you can see that she ends the game. Diamond Riven ends the game at 2-7-0. So that was just a fantastic job. The most important reason why we won, though, is we communicated a lot, and we were really respectful to each other. I was actually the lowest ranked person on our team, but I was our shot caller, and nobody ever told me, shut up, you know, I'm a higher rank than you, I'm going to be the shot caller, you should listen to me. You know, they evaluated what I had to say, they understood that what I was saying was correct, and even though they were higher ranked than me, they still respected me and just deferred to my shot calling because I was doing a good job of it. So let's discuss shot calling while I'm on this topic. So your shot caller should not necessarily be your best player on the team. Alright? Typically you want your shot caller to either be your jungler or your support, because they have the greatest map awareness. So they're not worried about CSing most of the time, so they're more likely to spot rotations, more likely to spot ganks, more likely to spot exploits that your team can punish. And also, it just makes it easier to not have one of your solo laners or your ADC be the shot caller. A mid laner can be the shot caller in some cases to really good effect, like High on Cloud9, but that's kind of few and far between. The other quality that you really want on a shot caller is you need somebody who stays calm regardless of what's going on in the game. You need somebody who's going to be calm if you're winning, and you need somebody who's going to be calm if you're losing. You don't want somebody who takes really unnecessary risks when you're ahead and blows your lead, and you don't want somebody who's going to go on tilt after a bad team fight. So, in conclusion, regardless of what rank you are, you want to make sure that you enter tournaments with an open mind and always be respectful to your teammates. Praise your teammates every chance you can get, and don't beat them up if they make a mistake. Effective, efficient, positive communication is the key to success. I hope you enjoyed this game, and good luck in all your future tournaments. This is Randomonium, signing off.